Hey, and thank you so much for joining me in the Take 5 Art Challenge video for the month of August. I have to be quick with the prompts because the first one is to finish within 15 minutes. So you might have noticed that this video is a little bit shorter than usual because usually I do not work within 15 minutes. I'm lucky if I finish in like 30 minutes. And because of the other prompts, I struggled so much. So here you see me working with blue distress oxides and just distress ink, because one of the prompts is also to use distress oxides or any other ink, and I actually own one other ink, so I had to distress oxide, so I had to buy this one, and I have never really used them. So it was hard. And to be honest, I tried to start before. I tried to do this once before, and it did not work. I had this whole idea of white flowers coming out of a blue circle on a page, and it just did not. It did not work. So that's what you see me doing here. I struggle. I just. And I thought I would just go with this one because it turned out quite nice, just a little bit more simple than I had planned. But anyways, the prompts. So number 1 is to finish within 15 minutes. Number 2 is to make use of the white space. Number 3 is to use circles. Number 4 is to use distress oxides or any other ink. And number 5 is blue. Yeah, you will see me try multiple things. I also decided to try something else that was new to me, mainly. I just really wanted to use stencils, and then I noticed that I got blue ink all over my table, and I did not get this this oxide off my fingers, so I was stressed that it would get on my table. And then I got to this point and the page was still too wet to actually do anything, but I was on a time crunch, so I decided to still do stuff, which was a mistake. I should have just waited just a little bit more, but yeah. So I'm trying out using a stencil with white paint, which it just didn't work. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if the stencil wasn't correct, but this is not the way to do it. And I found that out the hard way. It still turned out okay, but yeah, it got smudged and under the stencil, and I didn't like the way it turned out, but I just went with it because I had only 15 minutes. And yeah, as I said, the paper was way too wet to actually use, but I had to go on. So this was not the time for me to try and do this. Use this new technique for me with the wetting something and then using the inks and then pressing it on, which is how I thought that you use the inks. Maybe I used the wrong paper, but it just turned out like watercolor. It didn't turn out very special to me. I could have achieved this with watercolor in much less time and with much less waiting time. And then I had this idea of the circle being on one side being the white space that you use, and the circle on the other side being the circle from that inner circle that I cut out from the other page. But I don't have a large circle punch, so I had to cut it, and the way to cut it is to start in the middle and just punch a hole or cut a hole. And that way I just couldn't use that circle, so I cut out a different circle. Also, I didn't manage to put the circle fully as a circle. I tried, but somewhere you just need to stop, especially with this time limit. Oh, I struggled so much with the time limit, especially because I just got a brain freeze halfway through. And as you see, I sped this up. I even got some things out, but I didn't prepare well enough for having a blackout, and I got a blackout multiple times during making this because things didn't work out the way I wanted them, which is what happens when you try new things. But oh, I got so frustrated making this. So yeah, about the circle, I decided to cut out another circle, and I'm not a pro at cutting circles, so it took multiple attempts. But yeah, I think I will get my brain freeze soon after this. I thought this was too empty, and I had this idea of flowers coming out of the other circle and then blue ones around the other one, but I decided against that because it didn't work out the way I wanted it. So I thought I would add a quote with my Tombow Duo brush marker. And because I was struggling so much, I chose the quote, "I am enough," which is very close to my heart. I hold this quote very dear because I often feel like I am not enough. And reminding myself that I am enough is very important to me. So especially when I'm struggling with my art or my, however you want to call this, especially when I'm struggling, I need to remind myself that I am enough, whether my art is pretty or not up to my standards or not. I don't know. And here I'm just trying to figure stuff out, trying to fill it up a little bit much, because for me this spread is so empty. I never used this much white space, so in a way I guess I used the prompts right. I actually used every prompt in its full glory. And yeah, here I take off the camera because I want to show you that I have 12 seconds left. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I made the biggest mess ever making this. And if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.